Hey everybody, and welcome to our day early comics review video. I'm Andy here with Infinity Flux Comics, and yes, I'm missing Jason. Him and Megan have taken a little time today to not doing 1,000 videos, but I'm still here, and I'm going to go over some of the cool stuff that is coming out this week in comics. It's going to be real casual, real laid back. There's a lot of books out this week. I did not have a chance to read all of them, but I'm going to show you some of the ones I did, and then some of the ones coming out that I didn't have a chance to read, but you still need to know about. So let's get into it, starting with we have a new Joker book this week. This is Joker, The Man Who Stopped Laughing, #1. So this kind of it was touted as like the follow-up series to the previous Joker book by James Tynion. It's kind of that, but I feel like this is still a really good jumping on point. This is written by Matthew Rosenberg, and there is also a really cool backup story by Frank Avila. But in it, Joker is coming back to Gotham City, and it kind of seems like he doesn't get the respect that he thinks he deserves. They even kind of make fun that his girlfriend Punchline is taking over the city. He's not as funny as he thinks he is. All this stuff. So Joker is back trying to prove himself. But there is a pretty big twist ending that is really, really cool that I'm very interested to see what's going to happen with it because it harkens back to another Joker book that we've had in the past few years that I think people will be very interested to see if this is related to that or not. There's also a very cool backup story with the art by Francesco Francavilla that involves Joker and Power Girl, and it's very weird, very cool. So if you are a Joker fan, you'll definitely want to pick up Joker, The Man Who Stopped Laughing, #1. Now, next up, I've got Junkyard Joe. This is from Image, of course. This is by Jeff Johns and Gary Frank, the follow up to Geiger. I was a big fan of Geiger. Very happy to see that. We're getting our second book in the GeigerVerse series. This one, Junkyard Joe, was introduced during Geiger. He is a robot soldier, and you kind of get his origin story in this. It's pretty cool. It's pretty mature, just with kind of the war scenes and everything, but it's very cool to see the early days of a fun silent robot in the army and kind of how he interacts with all of the other people in his platoon. I'm very excited to continue that one as well. Next up, we have Spider-Man #1. Yes, Amazing Spider-Man did not end. This is another ongoing Spider-Man title, this time by returning Spider-Man writer Dan Slott, and the art is by Mark Bagley. So it's very classic Spider-Man feeling if you were a fan of Ultimate Spider-Man, or like me, I started really reading Spider-Man nonstop during the Big Time event. That's kind of when Dan Slott became the main writer before he stepped off of it for a bit and is back. This is really cool. It's not another dimension or anything. This is a runs parallel with Amazing Spider-Man, but this is starting the end of the Spider-Verse storyline. You're getting a lot of characters from this Edge of the Spider-Verse miniseries that's been going on, and some of the returning Spider-Verse characters and villains are back. Really cool. If you're a fan of the Spider-Verse movie, or if you read the previous series, you'll want to get this one. It doesn't require you having read Amazing Spider-Man. He catches you up pretty well on what's been going on, what's up with Peter Parker's suit, all of that, but highly recommend Spider-Man #1. Great jumping on point if you're looking for a Spider-Man book. If you feel like maybe the number on Amazing Spider-Man is too high and it's hard to jump into it at this point, pick up Spider-Man #1. I do have, so on top of it being just me today, also some of our comics came in late, so I don't have all the variants, but I do have some to show off. There's this beautiful Art Adams cover, and I really like this one. This is the Ramos variant. All the spider people. And of course, we have a Scotty Young cover this week as well. Next up, we have a really cool new indie book, Dark Ride from Image. This is by Joshua Williamson and art by Ed Brisson. If you're a fan of Birthright, that Image book, this is the same creative team. And this one is really cool. If you're a fan of theme parks and that whole culture, but a little bit twisted, this is kind of about a Walt Disney-esque character that was compelled to build this theme park, but it looks like it could be cursed. It's a very dark themed theme park, kind of horror, hell themed. And we follow a kid who kind of gets an intern job just cleaning up the park. At night, it's very tiring, but he loves being there because he loves the park. And you see him slowly uncover that there is more to this park than just being a theme park. There's actually some pretty dark elements going on, some supernatural stuff. So I really enjoyed the first issue of Dark Ride. I believe it's a extra size first issue. So after you read this one, you'll definitely know if you're in or not for it. We have some variants for that one as well. You can kind of see a little bit of like some of the mascots in the theme park. And this character, which is the daughter of the founder of the park. Pretty cool. Next up, a book I did not have a chance to read yet, but I'm very excited to. This is Night of the Ghoul. This is by Scott Snyder and Francesco Francavilla. You'll see his name come up multiple times here, like Scotty Young. They just keep cranking out work. This is a horror book. I believe it's only 3 issues long. So if you're a fan of Scott Snyder's horror writing, you'll probably want to check this one out. And I love Francavilla's art. Very cool. And then also another book I have not had a chance to read. I did skim through it. It is Miracle Man #0. So this is celebrating 40 years of Miracle Man's modern age. This has multiple artists in it. Peach Momoko. You have, what was in here? I believe Terry Dodson does some art in here. Just a whole host of people preparing for the new Miracle Man #1. I don't know a lot about Miracle Man, but I'm excited to read this. Maybe find a new character I really like. Let me know if you have read any Miracle Man and what you think about it, and what maybe is a good jumping on point, because that I am trying to figure out. There are some variants for this as well. I have the Scotty Young variant. Really cute looking little Miracle Man. Next up, another one that you might want to check out. There's a facsimile of Superman #1. If you've never read the, not the first appearance of Superman, but his first ongoing story, you'll want to check this out. It's pretty surprising how Superman acts in this. You can see how the character has really grown along the years, but very fun to see this early Superman story. Let's see, what else do we have? There is a new book from Dynamite called Sirens Gate. This is by Shannon Meir, a renowned cover artist. Now he is doing the writing and the art on his very own book. This is a very interesting book. If you like the cover art, that is what the interior art looks like. It's about a girl who is in a club. She's reading a book when a man approaches her and asks her about the book. She says it's by her favorite writer, and he said, "Oh, funny, I work for that writer. Would you like to meet her?" This starts on a weird road full of supernatural and monsters and all of that. So I think a lot of people are going to be checking this out. A lot of fans of this artist. Pretty cool. Very light on dialogue and text. Definitely art driven. But really cool one there. We also have Gotham City, Year One. This is a new Year One style book. They always like doing those. This time focusing on Slam Bradley, whose first appearance was in Detective Comics #1, predates Batman. And this is by Tom King. The art is by Phil Hester. And it seems like they're going to try to tell the story of how Gotham got to be the way it is, starting with a kidnapping of one of Bruce Wayne's ancestors' daughter. And it's up to Slam Bradley to find her. It's a pretty dark noir tale. But if you're a fan of that kind of thing, this one is super cool. I like Phil Hester's art. You can see it on the cover there. The interior looks a lot like that. Very noir, very crime, detective, following clues, roughing up some bad guys. So really cool in there. Then we have Edge of the SpiderVerse #5. So, like all of the SpiderVerse books, this does have some new characters in it. We have Hunter Spider, which, as you can see on there, that's the Kraven the Hunter Spider-Man. Very cool. You'll notice instead of a lion, his vest is a giant spider face, and you'll have to see how he gets that in there. Pretty cool. Then we have Web Weaver, who's the other character on this cover, who is a fashion designer, and you get to see him take on some villains on the runway. Really fun to see, and just the style of the clothing and everything that even the villains wear is really cool. And lastly, there is a story by Phil Lord about Siley Spider, which is like a funny little, almost like newspaper cartoon spider. But it escalates, and you have to see that it is actually also a SpiderVerse character in a pretty cool way. We have this book, which I was very interested to read. This is Three Keys, a new one from Image by David Messina, who you may know from doing the art on Han Solo and Chewbacca. This, I was not expecting, is a very Lovecraftian book, even referencing a lot of like name-dropping Lovecraft characters. Our protagonist is even the descendant of one of those characters. And it's about a girl who works in, let's see, her name is Noah Carter. She works in a comic book store, which is really fun. It's always fun to look in the background and see what they include. But she is the descendant of Randolph Carter, who is a famous Lovecraftian protagonist who goes through these dream worlds and everything. And she is one of his daughters, one of 3 daughters, that each has a piece of the silver key, which is the thing that unlocks these dreamlands. But she doesn't necessarily want to be this, as a lot of protagonists are, and you'll just have to read it to find out. It's very cool. A lot of monsters, a lot of fun dialogue, and great art. And you'll have to find out who that big cat guy is. Another Lovecraftian reference I was not expecting, kind of interpretation, but really cool. We have Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths. We are up to 5 of 7. So some pretty cool stuff in this. It's really getting the Justice League woken up from their dream worlds that they're in, and bringing them together, but in their kind of perfect world forms. And Superman gets a pretty cool upgrade in this. So if you've been reading Dark Crisis, that is our next issue of that. Along with Dark Crisis, The Deadly Green by Ram V. This explores what has been the impact of the Great Darkness on the Green, the force that keeps Swamp Thing, that he governs. He teams up with Superman to investigate the Green. Really cool supplemental issue, but if you're a fan of Swamp Thing, you'll want to check this out. And it's a lot of the Justice League Dark characters appear in this as well. Another one I haven't got to read, but I'm very excited about. It's Saturday Morning Adventures Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1. I believe each issue of this is supposed to be a standalone almost episode with in the style and the humor and everything of the original cartoon Ninja Turtles show. So if you're a fan of that, you want to check this one out. I like that they're standalone stories, almost like giving us bonus episodes to the original show. So that came out this week, along with another one I'm excited to read. It's Hulk #9. We finished up with our big crossover event. Now, Ryan Otley is back on art with Donnie Cates, and this, I believe, begins our next big story in Hulk. We have Avengers XMen Eternals Star Fox. This is a one-shot, kind of reinventing, resetting up Star Fox as a character in the Marvel Universe, redefining him. So we know he's going to be in some future movie. We don't know what, but it'll be cool to see. And I feel like this is going to really set the tone for what they're going to be going for with that. And we have Avengers XMen Eternals X-Men, which is one of what they say is critical reads to the event. I read the first one, the Avengers one. It was pretty good with Iron Man in it, but I didn't quite see how it was going to be so important to the overall story. So I'm looking forward to reading the X-Men one and the Eternals one to see really what is this all setting up and how it affects the bigger story. Let's see, do I have anything else? That may be it for this time. I said it was going to be a short one. When it's multiples of us, it's easier to get more read. I read as much as I could, along with placing the orders today and holding down the fort. But I hope you enjoyed this. I didn't want to miss an episode. So show me some love in the comments. Like this video, subscribe. Even when the team's not all here, we want to make sure that we bring you all the stuff you expect, even if it may be a little more casual this time. Join us on Friday, where we are still going to be doing Comics from the Future. There's a lot of good stuff coming up on this week. We may have a special guest host. You'll just have to wait and see. So join us then. Thank you so much for watching. And I will put on the screen some information about how you can contact us. If you don't have a comic book store that you're currently pulling your comics from, we can be that store. We ship all over. So just let us know. And until next time, we'll see you later.